I'm almost done here, and I know the focus of this panel is primarily space tourism, but I want to touch on some of the non-tourism things we're doing, because I think they're important both to our brand and to Richard's personal brand, but they're also important to the bottom line. We have built a vehicle on the back of tourism dollars, and we need to update the numbers in your slides, George. I think we're now at about 570 reservations, which is about $75 million in the bank from people who are eagerly awaiting their flights. So we built these vehicles largely on the basis of that market, but that is not the only market that we will serve. I am by training a scientist, although I don't get to use that part of my brain as often as I would like anymore. I'm excited about using these vehicles for science, whether it's students, whether it's government researchers, whether it's academic researchers. One of the reasons I am not a scientist anymore was because I was a space scientist, an Earth and space scientist, and you just don't get very many opportunities to run experiments. I didn't like this idea of I'm going to start my PhD program hoping that maybe the experiment I'm working on gets to fly sometime relatively close to when I graduate. And if it gets delayed or, God forbid, the mission doesn't go well, too bad. And you only get a few of those chances in a career. That wasn't exciting for me. I have nothing but admiration for the people who do it. With this vehicle, with the kind of turnaround times that the commercial suborbital industry as a whole is offering, I think we have now entered a world where a first-year master's student can design an experiment and get the data from it by the end of that first year of school. It's a fundamental game changer, both for the student, certainly, and for the advisors, but also for the industry, because when your timescales are 1 year, you take risks that you don't take when your timescales are a decade. And when your dollar scales are tens of thousands of dollars to run an experiment, you take risks you don't take when your dollar scales are tens of millions of dollars to run an experiment. So you can book a flight now for your research payload or for yourself as a researcher astronaut on our vehicle and others. I want to give a warm thank you to the folks at NASA. NASA has a great program called the Flight Opportunities Program where they have chartered flights on Spaceship Two and on other vehicles, and they are now giving away that capacity to technology researchers. So go to flightopportunities.org, talk to Richard Maines, who is here from the Flight Opportunities Program. They are looking for high-quality applicants. It doesn't matter your age, it just matters how good your idea is, and you could get a flight for your experiment into space on Spaceship Two. We also, just this past summer, announced a small satellite launch vehicle. So our astronauts do not go into orbit. They go suborbital, just like America's first astronauts do. But we realize we can use a lot of the same facilities, a lot of the same equipment, a lot of the same material, and a lot of the same personnel to get a fundamentally lower cost launch vehicle to put things into space. We're not launching things at the size of a SpaceX or United Launch Alliance. We're launching payloads that are more in the hundreds of pounds range. Maybe 500 pounds is probably about the max that we could put into orbit. But the price tag isn't $50+ million like you pay for even a cheap rocket like those from SpaceX. The price is in the single-digit millions of dollars. So again, you do different things. You take different risks when you can buy launch capacity in those kind of signs. We have several private customers that have already signed up to do this. In theory, the revenue from this could be just as large, if not larger, than the space tourism industry if that all works out. We're also working with a DARPA program called ELASA for that. So that's my last slide. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up.
Great. Thank you. Well done.